The second lesson is country of origin. This is a long discontinued Seiko Samurai. If you look at the back, you'll see it says Made in Japan. Interesting thing happens though when you remove the case back. The inside of the case back says Case China. This is the game that manufacturers play, and this is mostly pertinent to things that are supposed to be made in Japan or made in Switzerland. Both countries have laws. In particular, I believe the situation with made in Japan is even if parts of the watch are made in another country, so long as the Japanese company in question owns the factory in another country, say China, they can legally write made in Japan. Now this was a cheap watch, relatively cheap, $200-300 US. So I don't think anyone could really get too upset about it. Even though it is amusing that it would say one thing on this side and something else on the inside. But it is according to the letter of the law. This is something you need to accept is going to happen. Now when we get into Swiss made, things become even more crazy because their law is even more nebulous. The reality is that, especially when it comes to Swiss made, and even really made in Japan, it's very unlikely that you're going to get truly Swiss or even Japanese made watches that are probably going to be under 5,000 US, especially Swiss. My gut feeling is, and it'd be really hard to verify, but my gut feeling is you'd have to push closer to US 10,000 before you can approach something that's truly made in Switzerland, for instance. And yeah, probably 5 to 7 with really made in Japan. Some people don't understand that, and they buy something expensive, and then they hear rumors about Omega bracelets being made in China or something, and they get very upset. The thing is, you really need to go into this with your eyes open. The reality is, more likely than not, unless you're buying ultra expensive things, and even then you can't be fully certain, you need to assume that your watch is, to some extent, made in or of Chinese components. The faster you accept that, the better off life will be for you. Because if not, if you buy into these stories these companies tell you, you go on forums and you start seeing people showing little bits of evidence that things are in fact made in China or parts are made in China, it's going to lead to a very rude awakening, and you're really, really better off doing your homework and being cynical up front.